First of all, you don't know me.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queens, smart girl, rough girl, fashion but you're tough girl. You could sit with us, girl. Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 13. The hero dies in this one. Air date February 8th, 2005. If you know what this sound is, that's what's happening.
Sounds like you're peeing.
It could be that. It will be that eventually.
It's not. It's the sound of me pouring wine, and Hilarie's doing the same thing.
Here,
and Sophia just finished eating a giant lamb chop.
Glug glug.
Oh, nice. Glug 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 glug.
Big girl sounds.
Okay, somebody read the synopsis. What the hell happened in this episode?
Go,
Guys,
Sophia. I can't read.
This was a real big one. A personal fave because Brooke plans her presidential campaign and we meet Erica Marsh, her rival. Jake returns to school. Dan makes an offer to Lucas that he is obligated to fulfill while he keeps his health secrets from Karen. Dun dun. And Nathan gives Haley an ultimatum after she gets the opportunity of a lifetime to go on tour with Chris Keller and the Wreckers.
Ooh.
This one made me feel very emotional.
Me too. I couldn't believe how much they packed it, how much emotion they packed into it. And honestly, the first 20 minutes, I was kind of like, this is not much happening in this episode. Like, I don't really know what's going on. Do I care? And then everything just really snowballed big time. We lost Hilarie. Should we wait?
Guys, listen, living in the middle of nowhere, internet's a problem. So if you're voting in local elections, vote for rural broadband. Thank you.
There you go.
I love it. Well, speaking of elections, let's kick off with Brooke.
Yeah, let's get there.
Let's talk about it. I love Brooke with all her projects in this sort of season of her life with the Crab Shack and running for president. It's like we're really starting to begin to see the buds of Brooke's entrepreneurial explosion that's coming later. And
we're seeing Sophia in Brooke. Do you know what I mean? It's like you brought the music in. I brought, I don't know, the grumpiness in, and Sophia brought the advocacy and running for office into Brooke. It's nice when they see what we get excited about and then they filter it in.
I really loved it. I loved becoming a union organizer. I loved becoming a union organizer and then deciding to run for local office. I was like, this feels right.
I think it was great. It was really fun. We got to meet Catherine Bayless, who becomes much more of a part of our show later. And I just loved seeing her because I wasn't in any of those scenes. And I don't know that I ever saw this episode. So it was really fun for me to see her work.
She's good. Seen that? Isn't she so great?
Yeah, she's
Y'all. Good. She was such a riot. We had such a good time doing this stuff. And there was just something I loved, not only about an understandable rivalry between two girls competing over something and for this character of Erica Marsh, the girl who's like, no, this is my thing. This is what I do.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I loved about it is that rather than turning on some shame spiral for Brooke, she gets encouraged to just embrace who she is. And then she goes so far in that direction. And I was like, man, I wish anybody taught women that when we were young to be like, yeah, you made some mistakes. Doesn't everybody get over it? You're awesome.
I know. This is something I definitely am trying to instill with my daughter and my philosophy in parenting is obviously I'm not just trying to be a train wreck, but if I make mistakes or if mistakes that I have made in the past come up, I'm happy to talk about it within a framework of what she can understand for her age. But I think it's actually really important because my parents didn't do that. I think a lot of parents don't do that. They're kind of afraid that their kids are going to, I don't know, see them as less than the ideal leader and maybe take after them in some way or respect them less. I don't know. But I got to say, I've had really good luck with this because my kids turned out to be somebody that makes really smart decisions. And I think a lot of it's that the people around her aren't afraid to just be who they are, and I love seeing Brooke be who she is like this.
I love it too. And it's interesting now to look back on that as an adult and to go, wow, we didn't grow up in an era where people said, embrace your flaws, embrace your wins. Everything you've ever done has made you who you are.
Yeah.
And I wonder if part of that too, there's these moments, right, in our evolution as a society. Like parents now have more information about, support and psychology and all the things than our parents had. And then I think about how my parents also had, being immigrants, growing up the children of immigrants, where there was such a striving to prove that you earned being here, that you meant, that you deserved to be in America.
Yeah.
And you had to be perfect and you had to succeed. And perfectionism is like a slow killer. But I love knowing where it came from for them, even if,
even if we push against it.
Yes,
we're like,
even
no.
Even if I've been like, I can't possibly do it, I can't.
I really liked what Brooke said there about like, oh, you're talking to us little people. I think a lot of politics gets gross when there's elitism involved, and living in small towns, like our mayor walks down the street. That's how it was in Wilmington too. Like we were all friends with the mayor. And still are, there's an accessibility that is very, very important. And I think that Brooke brings that to the table. And I loved the pissing match between you and Erica March.
Yes.
Like very rarely does Brooke Davis meet someone that's going to like outsnide her. And so that like one-upmanship in that scene, it's so tight. And you guys are just like, spot on with each other. And
I love that for them, it's a battle over politics. It's a battle of intellect.
Yeah.
It's a battle of wits. It's so refreshing that we got to step out of that, male gaze kind of vertical that the writers loved to put us in and do other cool things.
Yeah.
I just thought that it was so much fun. And
Brooke
God, I
looking
loved shooting those campaign posters.
Oh my gosh. Wait, do you have those? Do you have
I
any of them?
definitely have one of them. I don't know if I have a set. I really wish I did.
that's what you need to like plaster your house in. I'm sure your fiance would love that if there was just like a whole room dedicated to Brooke Davis campaign.
Yeah, just pictures of me in crop tops passed out over kegs with Solo cups.
But by the way, Brooke's a good time. That's approachable.
What if we made buttons? Let's make some vote for Brooke. Brooke for president.
I do have
buttons.
a button. I still have a
We
button.
need more buttons to sell.
Yeah, well, we
I
need
agree.
buttons.
I was just looking at the episode, like Lucas has a different button than the one Felix has. And I was like, wait a minute, where are all of those buttons? There were multiples.
But nobody threw those out. They're somewhere.
Somebody's got a box of them and I want them.
Hilarie called it. She said, "You look like you look like Daphne. You look like your mom, Victoria, in the trench coat,
Especially in the trench coat.
The trench coat, and you've got the like bang that Daphne would wear on the show. You've got that hair, like that adult bang. Even in that like loose chignon that you're like, I have to pull my hair out of this dumb bun. Yeah, you look like Daphne. And this was years before we cast Daphne.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful foreshadowing. You
I
knew what
loved
you
it.
wanted in a mother.
Man.
Did you run for office in high school? Did you do that in high school?
Oh, yeah. High school, college. I had all sorts of that stuff going. It's like I was the philanthropy chair every year in college.
Oh, my God. Yes, you were.
Yeah.
The philanthropy chair.
Did you have to run a
philanthropy chair.
campaign ever like this?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, God, it's so weird. School just all sort of blends together for me. But I do remember, I don't know if it was middle school or early high school, a campaign season. And I remember, my friend Betsy, we used to do plays together. And she's still one of the girls that I'm really tight with from high school. And we just did everything together. And I remember like being at home after school and cutting out things for our posters. And we were just so excited. Yeah, it was so fun to, start to formulate these ideas of how to talk about what you cared about.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Student government's great.
I mean, I obviously still love it.
It stuck with you, huh? Really, really impact. I ran for vice president in the 5th grade. Yes, I did.
How'd that go?
And I had to make posters, and we had to come up with a presentation that was presented before the entire elementary school. This is when I was in Texas.
Wow.
So we had
Stressful.
an auditorium, which was also our cafeteria, and then they would turn the chairs and
Those are
tables.
the best. I have such a soft spot for that.
I love it. A multi-purpose
combo.
room. That's what they call it now on HGTV.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. And so I decided, being the performer that I was, that I would create a real. It wasn't just a speech. What I did was
it a song?
I sang a song. I sang a song and I did a dance. So I had a hat rack and I had all these different hats on the hat rack, and on the hats,
Joy, there's got to be tape of this somewhere.
on the hats, each hat had like a sign on it, a trash cleanup and, less homework and all these little things that I was going to be fighting for. And there's a song by Amy Grant in the late 90s called Hats. Why do I have to wear so many hats on my head or whatever? Hilarie is crying.
You are killing me. Amy Grant, you didn't even go with Baby Baby or like one of the big hits. You went with an obscure B-side song.
Not one of the hits.
God.
Oh, Joy, you are.
I just
Keep going.
really underestimated how excited everyone, or overestimated how excited everyone would be about
my God.
this song that no one knows. So I did my dance and I had my bowler hat and I had my like leotard and just did the whole thing. And,
Or leotard.
oh, guys, I was hopeless. I really was.
I love
hopeless.
this. Oh, I have to take this sweater off, Joy. I'm sweating.
It's so painful. I did not win,
Oh, honey.
but I had fun. And I still remember.
if anyone in New Jersey has tape of this,
This is
Please,
Texas.
New Jersey or
please.
Texas?
This was
Okay.
Meadow Creek Elementary School in Bedford, Texas.
Ooh, my birthday's coming up, as is Sophia's.
Please.
You know what we want. God, Joy, I'm sweating for you.
Please.
Yeah, it was stressful, but hey, you got to take the risk. If nothing else, and just like Haley, I took the risk.
You sure did,
I
girl.
jumped out there and I just said, "Screw it! I'm just gonna go for it." So why not? It didn't work out so well for Haley either. Apparently.
Speaking of Haley.
Let's talk about it. Those Chris Keller AIM conversations.
Woo!
Aim.
There were so many of them.
The printouts? The fact that Nathan printed out AIM chats.
Don't act like you didn't do it. I
What
did
an
it.
era. It's so specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the timeline of human history, printing out an AIM chat.
Yeah.
If a cute dude talked to you the night before, you had to print it out so you could prove it to your friends and be like, oh my God, I can't believe this dude was like talking to me last night. And look what he said. And what does that mean? And blah, blah, blah. Or if you got in a fight with somebody, even better. Then you could be like, and then I said this. And there's proof, Yeah. I still, as a grown-ass woman with gray hair, have printed out AIM conversations in a shoebox in my attic.
Do
You better
Hillary,
believe it.
where are
Of course
they?
I do.
Wow.
Jimmy Kane and I loved each other as friends, and we had a big falling out that ended up in us actually making up and then making out at the end of senior year. And I took that very seriously because we'd been friends since we were 11, and I printed all of that out for me to remember forever. So
I still
Jimmy,
have all
wherever
my
you
notes.
are. Yeah, those are important. AIM notes were dangerous though, because you never knew who was going to see them.
Yeah, that's true.
We didn't do that.
What?
You didn't?
I don't know. I never printed. I'm in this moment, I'm experiencing deep regret. I wish I could go back and flip through. No, I don't know. I don't know if it's because I went to an all-girls school like that. We weren't doing that. It's not that we weren't on AIM, but we weren't bringing them in to be look at this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
I
we were
feel-
just assholes. Maybe
I
we
feel
were the ones-
robbed. I feel like
You
I
guys
got
had
cheated.
discretion.
I don't know. I think we were just
Might have
lame.
been at discretion.
I think I just was boringly bookish or something.
But you never got in trouble for an AIM conversation? No one ever was like, oh man, I heard you
No.
said that on AIM.
No.
Well, the East Coast kids were getting into all sorts of crap. So
I did a lot more passing
Guys.
notes than I did AIM. And we always called it AIM. I never heard it as AIM. It sounds like a DARE
folder?
project or something, like don't do drugs.
Yes, it's DARE.
AIM. We did a lot of passing notes. I have boxes full still of notes. But we digress.
The Chris Keller notes
The
were
Chris Keller
salacious.
notes.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
But Haley didn't write them. That was all Taylor.
Well, she wrote some in the beginning.
It looked like they were all pretty much from Chris, though. We're like, I want to kiss you and I miss you on tour. Like, I didn't see a lot of Haley responses so much as I saw Chris, like, being very
aggressive. Yeah, that's right. It was wild to watch that because I remember shooting that stuff. Not a lot of details, but I just remember what a big deal that storyline was because Nathan and Haley were the golden couple and it was very exciting. And it was a big deal in pop culture at the time, Nathan and Haley having gotten married. So to see the breakup and knowing that they were actually sending us on tour around the country and not knowing what was going to happen with the show and kind of knowing that they were trying to see if they could write me off the show and if the show would still like be okay without me.
Oh, Joy, did you feel that way?
Oh, I knew that's exactly what was going on.
But why?
Because I wasn't always super compliant. Like I had ideas about the scenes. I had ideas about my character. I spoke up a lot. And for a 21-year-old in that environment, I think the people that were around, like you guys have said before, I was in this business for a long time I started professionally when I was 12 here. So I had built up a long experience on sets of having all my ideas welcomed and really being heard and listened to. And even as a kid, like respected, you're here for a reason. You're bringing something to the table. How do you feel about this? Do you want to stand over there? Where do you want to be? And so I brought that mentality into my work on One Tree Hill, expecting that I was going to be greeted with the same openness, and I wasn't. Oof. But instead of laying down and being like, oh, I guess that's not what I do here, I was like, oh, screw these guys. Like, no, this is what I do here. I have ideas. And it's not that I was always right. I wasn't always right. But then it's like, I don't know who I can trust. So then I would double down sometimes because I was like, well, I don't trust anybody. So I have to trust myself. And then if I'm wrong, I didn't trust the people that were telling me I was wrong. So it was, anyway, sorry, long story long, as Sophia would say. That's a lot of what was going through my mind as I got on that bus and headed out, because I knew as I was leaving, like they're trying to figure out if they can do this without me, without Haley on the show, if they can like get me out.
I hate that.
Yeah. But I still got to go on tour, which was amazing.
Well, so here's my question though, something that in all these years I've never ever thought about. I know the fan base was really excited to see you on tour.
Yeah.
But did anyone give you shit about leaving Nathan? Was anybody like yelling from the crowd, like, you shouldn't have left Nathan?
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And back
because I guess I just never put it in context.
I don't think people really believed it. It's all a suspension. But there definitely were people like, go back to Nathan. Get back together with Nathan. Like, Chris is bad news. Shouting from the audience. It was fun, but it was all in jest and good fun, got good laughs and stuff like that. Yeah, but it was fun. We had a blast. Anyway,
how long were you guys out? How many dates did you guys do?
I think we did 30 cities.
Wow.
It was a lot. It was a big tour. We were gone for like 3 months, 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah.
And then I can't quite remember because I feel like you'd go and then you'd come back and shoot and then you'd go and you'd come back. Like the real time of the tour took longer than how long Haley was away on the show.
You're right. But that's because of the way it was airing.
Yeah.
Right. So we were shooting it way ahead of where what was airing is happening. So yeah, it was just timing out that way. But it was so sad to see Haley and Nathan have this big fight. And then, and as you said, when we were watching it, Hill, ultimatums never work.
Well, let's go back a little bit because I loved that we got to be kind of confidants in this episode.
Yeah.
And I loved kind of that gentle conversation because it's really easy to vilify someone if they're doing something that you don't like.
Yeah.
You know? And I like the rapport that Peyton and Haley have together where it's like, listen, I'm not going to say anything, but this is kind of fucked up, babe.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do about this?
Well,
that's what it feels like. What are we going to do about this?
Yeah.
And you played it, Hill, in a way when you approached her in the hallway. You came to her like, hey, are you okay? Not like, hey, what did you do? And I remember even watching the episode saying that it was so beautiful the way you played that last line, a kiss always means something. You said it not as judgment. You said it as almost an offering. Like, hey, don't kid yourself. I see you. Like, I'm here. And it was generous.
Yeah.
Well, look,
non-judgmental
Peyton
at
did
all.
it. Peyton did it with Lucas, you know, so no one's allowed to be perfect. We had a good director on this episode. Let's lay that out for everybody.
Yeah.
Kevin Dowling is one of the loveliest male directors I've ever worked with. I got to work with him on White Collar after this and Extant after this. And he's a reoccurring director on The Walking Dead who randomly, my husband came home and was like, there's this director I really love. And I'm like, who are you talking about? And he's like, this guy, Kevin Dowling. And I'm like, I know him. And so he has been on every show. And I think a lot of the scenes, we talked about how great Chad was in his scene with Moira. Where he's like, I want to move in with Dan, and his face is saying one thing and his mouth is saying another. And Kevin was just a really lovely actor's director. It's so obvious when we have those on this show.
You're right. He was so perfect for this episode because that's one thing that really struck me at the end was that there's, again, and we've talked about this, there's no high genre thing. Nobody's a vampire. No one's been murdered. This is just emotional drama, but we all experience it. We all feel it. And the fact that they have built us up throughout this time with these characters so that something as simple as a teenage boy's wife wanting to go on tour and pursue something else could just break your heart and create that kind of drama. He's throwing the keyboard across the wall. But we needed a director who really understood the subtlety of human emotion.
And so much of that could have been the opposite of subtle.
Right.
Kevin shepherded in such a beautiful direction. Like even that scene with Nathan picking up the keyboard, it wasn't rage. He looked heartbroken.
Yeah.
And then he just did something. And then he looked heartbroken again. He wasn't like ripping up the apartment and screaming, and even that, the way he reacted to Chris in the dressing room when Chris said the thing to him about, yes, she loves you, but what if it's not enough?
Oh my God. Yes. One. Hold on. We all wrote that one down.
We all wrote it down. And instead of hitting him, James just looked like he'd been shot through the heart. Like he encouraged everyone to be
Jake and you too.
Raw.
Because that's something else there's a tenderness there that could have been turned into something that felt sexual, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, the sexual tension was always there, but that moment of him taking off his shirt in the light and looking at you and Jenny in the crib, yes, it was very sexy, but it was also deeply emotional. Yeah. Just that moment, and just the fact that he took his time and that you were just looking and Jenny starts crying and he's like, go back
Not
to
a
sleep.
word is said.
Exactly.
It's just feelings pouring out of both of you, and the director gave it time.
Space and time, Love
Yeah, he's
that.
a really good director. We love Kevin Dowling. What a prince. I really like it when we call out our directors, because for the fans out there, we always text them and let them know that we've been raving about them. And it's so fun to hear back from them because, it's been almost 20 years since we worked with a lot of these people. What are you going to say, Soph?
I was going to call you, speaking of, and then getting out of the airport on Sunday was hellacious. Guess who was on my plane on Sunday? Stacey Rukeyser.
Shut up.
And I was like, I don't know if anyone sent it to you, but we all, because we were talking, and she was like, I'm just so proud of you girls. I love what you're doing. And I said, well, I don't know if anybody sent you the episode. She said, oh, so many people sent it to me. You guys were too cute. And we were just like, we love you. We're so happy for you.
Oh, that's so
man.
She's so cool.
We got favorites. That's
We
for
got
damn
lots
sure.
of favorites.
No, I was just going to add in though, Hill, because you were saying, you made a joke earlier that, what did you say? Sophia's being Sophia, right? Sophia's bringing in the entrepreneurial, and you said, I brought in the grumpy, and then Haley was something else. But you know what? The truth is actually in this episode, what Peyton did with Haley in the hallway is very you.
Yes.
That's the kind of friend that you are. And we experience it all the time because, look, it's not always easy having a friendship with anybody. Look, if your friendship is easy all the time, you're not very good friends.
Right, you don't tell each other hard things.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And I just think that's really true about you, that even when you have something hard to say, there's always love around it. I always feel love around it with you.
Hey, thanks.
I agree with that.
No, you made me cry. Joy, I've been drinking wine. Why are you doing this?
And you know
I
what?
have a cold.
I desire to push you over the edge. So let's keep going with this topic.
You guys.
You're going to have to take off your next layer, Hillary. She's sweating her.
So there's nothing underneath. I'm going to turn into Britney Spears right now.
Hey, one of the things too that you have always been so good at as our friend is you hold people to high standards. But
That's
you
true.
do so because you tell the people around you that you see them that way. You expect people to be the best versions of themselves because you see the best versions of who they are. And it's a very generous thing to be on the receiving end of, and to Joy's point about friendships, it's an incredible thing to be part of friendships that do that.
It's true.
Wow.
I love you
I'd take a
guys.
bullet for you guys.
Same.
Same way. Well, you know who wouldn't take a bullet for anybody is Dan Scott.
Haley, Joy, you are killing it with the segues this episode.
They're so good.
You are rapid fire. I fucking love it. Dan Scott, what a chump. What a bastard.
Well, Paul got a haircut in this episode. He looked great.
He looks great.
We all noticed.
Paul just
by
told
the
me, he
by.
just texted me and he said his son told somebody randomly in the park, my dad used to be handsome, but he's not anymore.
It's so vicious.
Which is not true at all, of course.
It's not true.
Paul's
Paul is
so
dashing.
handsome. I think he looks great right now, but I also have a silver fox thing, so.
It's funny because, he and I still go out all the time. And we went out to dinner the other night. It's funny to be at a restaurant and watch Paul walk in and see all the women in the restaurant still just turn, no matter who they're with, no matter how old they are, they're still just like, to whoever they're talking to. Like, just give me a sec to process this for a second.
When my daughter was like, I don't know, 2 months old maybe, Paul was doing a movie here in New York and was like, hey, let's meet at this cafe in Woodstock. And I was like, yeah, buddy. All right, cool. I show up with my brand new baby and Paul takes her immediately and will not give her back. And he's just like, she's fussing and he's just with his big body and his big strong arms, like making her feel comfortable. And she's all happy. And every woman in the restaurant was pregnant. Like they were all just like, who is this? Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
So true. Do you know what I showed her soap? Maria, my daughter, I showed her soap dish the other night.
Oh, how is that age appropriate?
Friends, well, we didn't watch the whole movie. I just showed her Paul in soap dish. I said, do you want to see Uncle Paul when he was younger? And she's like, sure. So if you haven't seen Soap Dish, first of all, it's a spectacular movie. It's really funny. But you get to see Paul when he was like, what do you think? 23, 24?
He was a baby.
And he gets he's in the whole movie, but in the beginning, you only have to go like 3 minutes in. And Sally Field gets out of the limo and Paul's her date as they walk this red carpet. It's a soap opera movie. And you can just see how tall, and he looks exactly like his son. And it's really amazing. Maria was just like, what? That's Uncle Paul.
Wow.
Uncle Paul. Has she seen him be a bad guy in our show yet?
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's going to mess her
That's
up.
going to be weird.
That is
That's going to be weird for her.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to get there.
But this whole dastardly thing of him wanting Lucas to move in with him, I still am having trouble wrapping my head around it. The deal is he won't tell Karen about the heart test if Lucas doesn't tell everyone about.
No.
But how did Dan find out about the heart test?
It's Dan promises not to blow up
Keith's
who
marriage.
Jules really is to Keith
Okay.
if Lucas will come and live with him.
And
And
but
Lucas
then how
loves
does the
Keith more than
medication
anyone.
come in?
So then the HCM thing, because
I'm glad someone was paying attention.
I missed it, man. Right over my head.
because Dan has it, and
Okay.
I think wasn't he the one who like? Oh no, it was Keith who made Lucas get the test. So I don't know. I don't know when it is exactly that Lucas told Dan he had it. Maybe because I guess they were already in cahoots about Jules. So he said, "Well, if you got to pay for my medication. 'Cause it's expensive."
Yeah.
That feels like it
quid pro
tracks,
quo
right?
here.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
But he's going to live with him because he doesn't want Keith to get hurt.
Man, that's a lot of codependence.
Wow.
That's a lot of pressure for a kid.
Yeah.
It is.
Chad played it really well, though. In that scene with Moira,
Yeah.
it's hard to have your face do one thing and say different words. That's a hard thing to do. And his face is saying, like, Mommy, I'm dying. Mommy, I'm dying. Mommy, I'm dying.
I'm scared. I'm
But
scared.
I'm
Yeah.
fine. I'm going to go live with Dan. This is what I want.
Yeah.
I love that Karen knows her son so well that she's like, what is he manipulating you with?
She knows. She was
She
good.
knows.
Although I
Yeah.
did not like her
I knew it.
confessing.
Girl. Okay.
Keith.
Get in there. Lay it out.
Come on. That's so
That trick.
that's selfish.
And
Why?
then that great shot that racks around and you see Andy watching.
Let's
hurts.
talk about that, though. Let's
Okay.
Yeah.
not glance over that.
Yeah.
Have you ever had someone say, I am in love with you, and you have to be like, oh, that's so cute. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all know the rules are you can never
No.
tell them if you change your mind.
No.
Ever. Especially when they're with someone else.
No.
When they're with someone else, it's so selfish because it's like, well, when you thought they'd always be around, you didn't want them. And now that somebody else looks at them like they hung the moon, you think you missed out?
Well, what's worse about this is that Karen didn't change her mind. She's not saying, hey, I actually am in love with you. I'm sorry, I'm a total idiot, but come back to me, which would
No, she's not.
be a big deal. But no, she's saying, I actually still don't want you. I'm just jealous that this other girl gets all your time and I don't get the time that I wanted with you. But it's like playing on this piece of his emotion. He's just so tenderhearted.
It's a
anyway.
carrot that's being dangled. I'm thinking about it.
But you know what's interesting? And I agree with you. I'm just going to say, but you saying that made me think of something I didn't think of when we watched the episode. Because I remember when we watched it, you were like, why is she doing this? I could buy it if like she'd gotten drunk and then got vulnerable.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said. But I wonder if maybe because she's saying, I'm jealous. I miss my friend. Is that why she's saying it sober? Because it's not.
She used the wrong words. If
She
you're
used the wrong
saying
words.
like, buddy, man, I miss hanging out with you. That other girl, she's lucky.
Right.
Like there's a way to
Right.
phrase
Yeah.
it that is super platonic and it puts that wall up. Like all of us girls know how to do that.
Yeah.
So if you are making the decision not to do that and you're using language like, I'm jealous of Jules and all this
Yeah.
time you were my person. And
Oof, that was a gnarly bomb to drop. Yeah, you're right.
Because she
I'm
unwound it.
jealous
She
of Jules
started
was
with
big.
I'm jealous of Jules, and then she unwound it to it's really just because I don't actually want you as my partner. I just miss having you around.
I miss my
And
friend.
you see his face.
Yeah.
You see his face trying to like weigh it. Like, what's she really saying? Am I missing a cue right now? Should I kiss her right now? Should I not kiss her right now? Like, what do I
Yeah.
fucking do? And
Now, there's a way to handle
thankfully, it was good to see her go to Andy at the end
Yeah.
and lose her shit because I certainly
Yeah.
have been in situations in my life where something bad has happened and I have been surprised at what my gut reaction is, like who to call, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, that's the person I need to be with right the now,
Yeah.
you know? And so it is promising that in her moment of like absolute despair, it's not Keith she calls, it is Andy.
It is Andy.
So she may be confused. That's a totally rational thing for her to feel. We're not vilifying Karen. But in the end, you know, her picking Andy. Yeah. I mean, I've certainly had those moments where I'm like, oh God, I really just called so-and-so.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, me too.
Okay.
No, I think you're right, because it would have been okay for her to call Keith.
That's the person she should have called.
Yeah.
If she loved
considering
him.
it's Lucas, and, you know, I think Jules would have been understanding of that situation. Like, this is a big deal because it's about Lucas, and they've always sort of done these things together. So, yeah, I appreciate that I also appreciate that she went to Andy.
It felt like a nice surprise, and I realize, rehashing it, that what I put on it as a viewer was, oh, Karen is struggling with things changing with Lucas, and she's always been supported with Lucas by Keith. But when push really comes to shove, she wants Andy to hold her. And I feel like they gave that beautiful shot to Kieran wrapping around his face while he wrapped her up in an embrace, because the subtext for him was, oh, she did pick me.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, I can't really take that personally. This is big, and she did pick me.
Yeah.
You know?
I also love for Kieran that he had 2 scenes this episode, 0 lines. He got to just party in Wilmington for 2 weeks. Good for him.
Wait, no.
In the cafe,
No, we did have
talked.
lines in the cafe. That great scene where
chilly
he
in
was
here.
like, it's chilly in here.
Oh, what do you want to talk about, the weather, or drink your fucking coffee?
I loved that.
Kieran. Good for you, dude.
Okay, another confession, though. The big confession of the episode, besides Haley confessing that she kissed Chris, which I still never understand when she didn't go, he kissed me.
We're going to talk about this.
Okay, but anyway,
we will.
The other one is Mouth, who also came in at this great moment. Like, I forgot that the writers were holding on to that.
Yeah, because they held on to it forever.
I know.
long
It was the
time.
perfect timing to just keep heightening. With a writer's brain on, my writer's hat on, I'm like, man, this is such perfect timing to add that in. It was great.
Yeah.
And Lee played that scene so beautifully. And one of the things I loved, because I didn't remember how that was going to go, but when he walked in, he's really got his heart on his sleeve. He has to say the most vulnerable thing.
Yeah.
And I loved watching us together, because I was surprised even by my reaction, which wasn't to get mad. It was to just be so hurt that the person who I trusted to tell me the truth also lied to me.
That was a great choice,
You were
Sophia.
mom disappointed. It was hard.
It was like it was a heartbreak. It was that kind of heartbreak that comes from the betrayal of a friend, and I was surprised by it.
You had already had it
Yeah.
out with him after the prom or the dance or
Yeah.
whatever that was.
Yeah.
So it seemed like, we're not going to do this. Like, let's not do that again. Let's just be really honest now. There's no time for anger, because anger is always covering up hurt. Let's just be honest. Oof, that was hard.
There's similar energy there between you and Mouth and Karen and Keith, because
Interesting.
it's the friend zone energy. It's the reliable energy, but also when it's taken away, it feels like the rug's being pulled out from under you. And Keith has the most beautiful line in this, which is the subtext of Mouth's scene with you, is, I'm glad I loved you all those years. Like, you and Mouth get there. You
Yeah.
know, doesn't he end up marrying Millie, your assistant? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like loving you was a safe place for me, because then when the right person came along, I was good for it.
Yeah.
That is so true. I mean, I think we've all had that in our lives. I've had someone that I loved for a long time that if I didn't love that person, I probably would have gotten caught up with a lot of the wrong kind of guys and a lot of bad situations. But I was, young and just like so in love and sure that I was just willing to fight for it and wait and stick around. And then you realize, oh, wait, actually, this is not the right thing at all.
This was a good bookmark.
But great bookmark. Yes.
That's how I view my years at TRL. Like, how many bad musicians would I have kissed if I didn't have that one boyfriend all that time?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Listen, I'm glad that we had this bookmark. But Keith is so earnest about it, and that same love, you can feel it from mouth, because he's also heartbroken when he says, I don't think I can be friends with you either. You know?
Yeah.
Boys, stop making it hard.
So sweet. And I kind of loved that this moment of the friendship heartbreak happening against the backdrop of the speech, you know,
Yeah.
to take it back to the beginning,
Yeah.
Brooke is finding her inspiration. She's being told that she is courageous, that she is deserving of being a whole person and of embracing herself and telling her truth and being proud. It's why she says that iconic line, I am who I am, no excuses.
Yeah.
It is, baby, put it on a t-shirt.
Like, I want it on a shirt and a dad hat and on everything else. But what I didn't remember, because trust me, that's one of the lines people quote it to me. They want me to write it for tattoos. I didn't remember that the next thing that she said was opening up about how she wanted people to know there was more to her.
Than just some party girl.
Yeah. And so I kind of love that this heartbreak happens tenderly and that she doesn't get mad. She just admits that she's sad because she's been diving into courage. She's been writing her first speech. It's when she starts finding her voice, and I think there is something that does make you more bold, but also much more tender when you begin to find your voice and you begin to find your purpose, and you look to history and everything like clicks.
Yeah.
And that was a moment where she came alive, but it's an experience that I've had in my life, coming alive with a purpose that I've learned from studying history. And like, oh, I have chills thinking about it. It felt so good to not just do it in my own life, but to do it out in the world like that. It was very, very cool and special.
Well, meanwhile, you're wearing like the hottest outfit ever. Like the little like pink. and that's what I love is that Brooke embodies a balance between femininity and sexuality and power and intellect, and she doesn't have to cut one to be the other.
Yeah.
And that's important.
She refuses to.
Yeah.
That's super important. We don't have to be school marms to be smart. Duh.
No.
Yeah. Brooke paved the way. She was like, I'm going to show my ass in this sweet skirt and also tell you what's up.
Yeah. She was like, today I'm feeling inspired by Clueless and I'm going to read Kennedy.
Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, but let's talk about Clueless is kind of reminding me of trends of the time, which I think really made their way into this episode. Let's talk about Jessica Harp's hair.
Yes.
The flat iron flip, which was so popular back then. I think that started with Reese Witherspoon in Sweet Home Alabama, right? Wasn't that the moment?
That was such a look. Like the powder blue
Meg Ryan,
jeans.
Maybe? Oh, yeah, the powder blue jeans.
The jeans that were like kind of powdery blue.
Yeah.
They were like that wash was so weird. The pointy-toed high heel boots.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Are a thing. That smoky eye with very skinny eyebrows.
Yes, and the glossy lip.
Yeah.
The glossy lip.
I love it.
Yeah.
It was so fun to see that sort of PC flip. I haven't seen that in so long. Actually, we just watched Kate and Leopold the other night, and Meg Ryan had that hairdo too, but I'm not sure what year that was. But it was a little shorter. It was still short. Reese Witherspoon did it in Sweet Home Alabama, and it was really fun.
Busy Phillips has been doing Girls 5 Eva for Peacock and has been doing like flashback scenes with that flip. Oh my god! So as we watched the episode, I was like, "Is that Busy?"
Yeah.
So good.
No. Also, why those two have never played sisters? Hello?
Beyond me.
Oh yeah.
Somebody needs to get it together.
Yeah.
I just remember how excited we all were to have them on the show. We loved the records. God, that song coming on took me back in the most intense way. I just want to listen to that album all night now.
Yeah.
And again, with the directing, the cut to the lyrics of that song, every group that they cut to, Joy to you, to Haley and Taylor, and then back to Nathan, between you and Chris, between Brooke and Lucas,
the look between Brooke and Lucas.
God. Right? Where you're just like,
good kind.
oh my God. Like every single way that they cut between all of us hit those lyrics. I was like, oh my God, this cuts so deep. This song. It was amazing. I loved it.
They were also such cool girls. I was like intimidated because even when I worked at MTV, I was always intimidated by the artists. Like we didn't mingle. It was like
still intimidated by the artist.
Yeah. You just like you try to be cool and you're like, hey, welcome. Can I get you a snack? Like, how do you take your coffee? Like you try to be like cool that way. But they were both so cool. And I remember, Joy, hanging out in that green room with them and Tyler and you, because we ended up shooting like very, very late into the night after everybody else had like gone home. And I remember feeling like very special that we got to like stay behind with them in the green room.
So cool. I don't remember that, but that's awesome.
It was normally our green room for like cast while we were filming. And so then they just turned it into that for the show. Tyler in this episode is very button pushy.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes. I mean, isn't he always?
But
it was likable in this one.
There was like something had happened to Chris Keller where he knew he had power. So instead of just trying to rile people up, being kind of a dick, he just went, oh, I can do that to you. And I can do that to you.
You guys have been acceptable.
Okay, that was just being a dick, but the stuff in the green room, that was a power play.
Yeah. But honestly, like let's just think about this from Chris Keller's perspective.
Okay.
You meet this chick who's an amazing performer. Mm-hmm. You find out that not only is she married, but she's married to like a fucking dude from the high school basketball team. Like, womp womp. She's got so much potential and she's locked down in this little town of Tree Hill, and he has the tools to liberate her and give her her heart's desire. Like, he's not totally wrong.
Interesting.
And that's what's great about our show is that nobody's ever totally wrong.
Yeah.
Like when Peyton and Lucas are hooking up behind Brooke's back, there is a thing there. Is it bad? Yep. Is it real? Yep.
Yeah.
And so Chris Keller isn't being a monster. He's being a human that sees a girl with so much potential and he likes it and he wants more for her.
I love that you see that. That's so cool. That's what I love about our show, guys.
Yeah.
That's what it is. There's no just clear villain. Even Dan, who is obviously the clear villain, he still has these
He's so
moments.
handsome with that haircut.
I know, this haircut's so good. But he still has all these moments, has had all these moments where we're like, oh, I get it. I know where he's coming. Oh, it's hard.
But do you guys think that that's one of the reasons that our show has stayed evergreen? Because it does remind you, no matter how much someone's behavior hurts you or enrages you or confuses you, it reminds you to look at people and ask, well, what's going on with you?
Yeah, where are they coming from?
Where are you coming from? Why did you do this? What am I not seeing? It has encouraged so many people to look beyond just the present moment with someone and keep investing and dig in and do the work. And I don't know, I think it's for that reason that...
Well, even after I did therapy, after I left One Tree Hill, the note I kept getting was the people that you keep trying to push out, invite them in. Like figure out what's making them hurt and you will feel less slighted. And that is the note of our show. Figure out what is making that other person hurt. And then you can make a decision whether they're being an asshole or they're being a scared puppy.
It really is empathy. That's ultimately what it's teaching everyone, right? And teaching us. And I mean, that's kind of what we're doing as actors too, majorly actually. But
by the way, some people will just be assholes. Like, it's fair to arrive at that decision.
There's very few people. Sorry, my wine just kicked in, and I realized I was like talking like this, and I said something. I was like, oh my God.
Are we turning into Romy and Michelle as the episode goes on?
Remember the thought I was in the middle
Joy.
of. Oh my God! And I watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure last night for the first time with my daughter.
It's so fun.
Which was hilarious.
Be excellent to each other, Joy.
Be excellent to each other. My brain just all of a sudden, I was mid sentence and my brain shut down. So
honestly, that was great.
Anyway,
no, but you were saying, and you were right. You were saying that as actors, that is our jobs, right? We have to have empathy, not only for our scene partners in scenes, but with our own characters. And it's something, I love it so much. I had Connie Britton on Work in Progress after White Lotus. And I was like, I have a million questions for you. God, she's so good. Yeah. And we were talking about the themes of that show and how unlikable this woman and some of these characters could be. And she said, no, I never judge my characters.
That's right.
No matter what they're doing, no matter how terrible they are. Sometimes as actors, we have to sign up to play actually terrible people to make examples of them and their terrible ideas. And yet, you can't judge your character if you really want to play them. So we are required to find more empathy, not only for the people we agree with, but for the people we disagree with. It's literally our job.
The loving your enemy concept in action in a lot of ways. We just step outside of your own perspective and see where someone else is coming from.
How'd you do it, Joy, when you had to admit to Nathan that you kissed Chris? Because that is a bombshell in this episode.
What do you mean?
Spend the whole episode hiding it from Nathan. You blame it on your sister.
Yeah.
You brush it off. You tell Peyton that like Chris kissed me, you know? And then finally with Nathan, you've got to tell him.
Yeah.
Do you remember shooting that scene? You did so good, baby.
Oh, thanks.
It was beautiful.
I remember it in some way. There's a recess in my mind where I am there. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I've been in that apartment so many times. Maybe I'm just making it up, but it is hard to admit something that's shameful. That's always hard, and especially to the person who you know it's going to hurt the most.
Yeah.
I appreciated that Haley didn't try and excuse it away or brush past it, but you know, she really just sat with it and nodded her head. And I mean, yes, of course, she tried to put some context with it, but it wasn't like, hey, it's not like I slept with him. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, she knew what she did.
Yeah.
And also for Haley to be lying to someone that is really important to her. She's never done that before. She's always been the good girl. That's how it is, right? One lie and it's always spirals. It's never just one. You think it's just one and then you pull a thread and the whole thing comes unraveled.
The way you held the back of his head as you said yes, and you were like really trying to get him to stay in it with you. And we all, God, that's when I started sweating so bad. And I was just like, we were all like, don't touch him. But oh God.
I know, because you know, have you been on the receiving end of that? And the person reaching out and trying to touch you?
Nope.
It's like, get your hands off of me.
Yeah. I mean, you guys did a really, really good job in this episode. And then Nathan, you know, looking at the bench at the river walk and running home. Oh God, why?
It's so good. And the slow motion of the keyboard.
And
the bracelet.
I was not prepared for the bracelet.
Sophia and I didn't remember the bracelet.
I totally forgot about that. That's a big move. But you know what? If he said it's over, that's what she believes.
Wow.
And that's true of, I
That's the
think a lot of
ultimatum.
men are like that. Like once they make up their mind, there's really no, it's like a switch goes off, a wall goes down. There's no way to rewind that. I think.
I disagree.
Really?
I think men say they're done and they don't fucking mean it. I think when a woman says we are done here, that's when it's like dead and final
That's
forever.
funny. That hasn't been my experience. But so maybe
Really?
it's not gender specific. I don't know. I guess it's not.
Yeah, it's just it's like, how stubborn are you? What's your zodiac sign? That's what it is.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Oh yeah, boys can be coerced, Joy. I'll teach you all sorts of tricks. They're monsters.
That's so funny. Well,
No,
she
but
did,
I hate it.
she
I hate
did
it for Nathan.
Yeah, and I hated that for Nathan too. That was so hard to see that bracelet sitting on the table, just knowing that she
That was
was like,
hard.
"I accept your resignation."
Although Sophia and I fully enjoyed the palpable energy when you approached that tour bus and Chris Keller was like, "Say what?"
It was steaming, and not just the exhaust from the bus. Hey, I'm just trying to keep up with Joy, you know. But seriously, like you walking up there, another really good shot, you know, seeing the girls leave, Michelle and Jess, and you know, it felt very real. Like everybody's packing up, it's time to go, and there you are.
Yeah, it's
And
intense.
and you said it to him. You need to do this for you.
Yeah,
And
she had to.
I think
Such a
that's
small
really
bag,
important.
though. Like, what are you gonna wear on this tour? That bag was so small.
It was. Haley's an expert packer. If nothing else, that girl is efficient.
She's like, I'm gonna wear the same baby doll T-shirt. What did you? Hey, by the way, what did you wear on that actual tour? Did you have like a go-to like cool girl get
Oh
up?
my gosh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
did. It was the rainbow dress that I bought at some vintage store in New York when I was living there in 2000. And it was, I still have it. I still have
Really?
it.
Oh, we
Yes.
need pictures.
Joy.
I love that dress
Yes.
so much. So it's like paper thin, but you know, I wore a slip underneath it. It was beautiful.
Even better.
Yeah, I've got it. Well, I loved this episode. I'm really excited to find
I
out what
loved
happens
it
in the
so
next
much.
one. What is the next one? The quiet things that no one ever knows. We got more Jake. We got
Thank
more
God.
Haley and Nathan. We got Mo
Yes,
Brooke.
Hey. Oh yeah, the election is like happening full swing.
Yeah, this is going to be a big deal. I'm excited. Should we spin a wheel, guys?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might sneeze. Who is most likely to
Forget where they parked their car.
All right. Which
Oh,
character
man.
is most likely to forget where they parked their car? I mean, that's a Bevan thing if ever I heard.
That makes sense.
That's
Maybe
a great
real life.
point.
Bevan.
Yeah, but is there anybody else?
Yeah.
Who's kind of
Bevan
spacey?
feels right.
Anybody else?
I
kinda
was
spacey?
I was gonna go deep into the last seasons of the show and say Julian, but that felt kind of dark.
Oh, poor Julian.
That's
But
kind of
you're
dark.
not wrong.
I'm
We have a
not
male
wrong.
and female option. Yeah. He's so used to valet.
Poor guy.
Um,
But I don't know.
agreed.
In real life, have you ever lost your vehicle?
constantly.
Joy, of course.
I mean, is there any other answer? Like, obviously.
Oh my god, it's perfect.
Listen, Joy and I have had some car adventures. I just want to say I endorse Joy for most likely to
Thank
Yeah.
you.
forget where she parked her car.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't called Joypiter for no reason.
I'm always going to be your friend with the iPhone to take pictures of your parking spot
Thanks.
in the garage.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm
get
old
you
enough
home.
now. Like I've lost it so many times that now I know to do that, and that I can't talk on the phone or talk to the person that I'm with when I park my car and when we walk away. it's like just I have to turn around, I have to take the mental picture, I have to look at the numbers and all the things. So now I generally
Didn't we do that when we did our Drama Queens photo shoot and you drove and we all went to get sushi and we had to take a picture so we wouldn't forget?
We did, because we were in that underground parking structure where everything looked the same.
Guys, I'm never going to find my way to my car.
It's fine. It's fine.
Oh my God.
You don't need to. That's why we have technology, Joy. We'll get you
That
home.
was perfect.
Thank God.
Huzzah.
I love you guys. That was fun.
Hey, I love
was
seeing your
fun.
faces, you
Love
guys.
you.
And we love all of you. Come back next week. We can't wait to talk about some more.
Good night.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Don't forget to leave us a review. You can also follow us on Instagram at DramaQueensOTH.
Or email us at dramaqueens@iheartradio.com. See you next time.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queen.